What it open. Let me call to order the February 9, 2022 meeting of the Pottstown Council Committee of the Whole. I'm going to be asking you to rise shortly. And as you do, I want to remind everybody of the passing of James E. Smale, Jr. on February 2nd, 2022. Jim was a 6th Ward councilman from 86 to 94. He was the council president from 1990 to 1993. He served as the Civil Service Commissioner from 95 until present. Where do I go from there? He was in charge of the Pottstown Fire Police. He volunteered for anything and everything that came down the line. And he and his wife made a presence in Pottstown unlike almost anyone else. We will miss him dearly, and we are sorry for the family's loss. So please keep that in mind as you have your moment of silence. If you'll rise now for that, and followed by the pledge to the flag. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe, Jenny, that under Pennsylvania law, we have 4 counselors present.
Correct.
Making a live quorum. We can
quorum.
proceed.
Yes.
Okay, under subcommittee reports, infrastructure, Councilor Lebedinsky.
Senior packet.
Okay, nothing more to add there. Transportation. No meeting. All right. Efficient methods, Councilor Lebedinsky.
We talked to, we've been in talks with Public Works, and we're looking to gather data on the trash pickup and the instances of good and bad trash picking up. We talked about the pothole response and that it's temperature and weather critical. The volume of potholes to be fixed is in one, we're going to make in one run. We're going to start collecting that data as well. Spring is going to be the best time, the big push for addressing the potholes. So hold on. That time's coming soon. I know there's a lot of potholes right now with the way the ice and snow and the clearing has been. We have some other small issues that we're taking care of that we're not quite ready to reveal yet, but there's going to be good things with Public Works coming.
Very good.
Trash. I don't have hard data with me right now, but the word essentially is less than 2% of the complaints are valid. We had, I think in 4 months, Dan was with me. Doug, just with our we had, I think it was Doug, it was less than 100 complaints in 4 months. And most of that was rectifiable. We were able to fix that.
Yeah.
And these are just complaints with Mascaro, not with trash in the borough.
No, with trash pickup. I'm talking trash pickup, yeah.
So they're putting the list together. They'll be presenting it at the next meeting to look at the hierarchy, see what's the most frequent incident, why it's caused, how it's caused, what we can do to correct it.
Okay, but if it's not a Mascaro issue, how do we correct the trash on High Street right now?
You mean like just the general, like
General?
litter?
Yes.
Oh, that,
It's like really, really, really bad right now.
okay, that
And
wasn't,
it's getting worse.
we could talk about that at the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll address that.
Anything more? Okay. Thank you for that. Ordinance Review Committee, Councilor Proskal.
Actually, we discussed a number of things. Probably one more interesting one is what to do with, properties in the downtown that don't have any access to the alleys that are kind of locked in corners to do with their trash receptacles. And I think Mr. Hovey will send us an atlas anything in the future.
Good. All right, economic development.
Michael, pause. Do you mind muting your phone? Thank you.
Good evening, councilors, Madam Mayor. So as far as economic development, I just have two things to report. So yesterday, the entire board, or most of our board, Paid's board toured three businesses in the borough: Eastwood, American Keg, and ECT Inc. Eastwood, for those of you that don't know, is for the aftermarket and also car enthusiasts that build cars in the garage, do welding, painting, and even fabricate their own fenders. We learned there are 140 employees at the location in Pottstown. And although they are all working hybrid at this point, there is desire to bring them back at some point. So Eastwood is going gangbusters. ECT, for those of you that don't know, it is a company that is it's a niche market. They have an international market, but their main bread and butter started out as they produce turbine wash for airplanes, and they have a large contract with Boeing. So when those turbines spin after a matter of time, this is a simplistic version, they get dirty like fan blades that you see, and there has to be a wash that goes through them to keep them running optimally when you're flying. And then American Keg, and I think everybody is familiar with that great story. They are the only American stainless steel producing keg, and they do it right here in Pottstown. And through their partnership with a German company, Blefa, that happened before the pandemic, they have totally reworked their particular plant. And it is amazing what they turn out of there. They would like very much to go to 3 shifts, but as everybody is struggling with supply chain issues, there is a supply chain issue with stainless steel, which Paid was able to help them at least keep open. There was a point where there may have been a shutdown completely of American Keg. So we're very grateful to the government officials who helped us with that. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is just overall, there's been a lot of noise lately on social media on a variety of topics, and I would encourage you that if it has anything to do with economic development or commercial development within the borough, please reach out to Paid, myself, or our staff, and we are more than happy to talk about facts rather than just conjecture. So I wanted to pass that along.
Good.
Thank you.
And while you're standing, tell us about the land bank.
So land bank, the first land bank of 2022 was held at the end of January. Officers were selected. Deb Penrod, once again, has been elected chair for 2022. Vice chair was Lisa Banney. Secretary is Twyla Fisher. And there is still a lingering acceptance out there of a treasurer. In fairness, the land bank member that was nominated was not there during the meeting. So we want to make sure that she's not being voluntold and that she does want to absolutely take that responsibility on. We have been meeting with our solicitor, the land bank solicitor, as well as Mr. Garner. I think that later this evening, you'll take up some consideration of 707 Hamilton. We're looking forward to working with the borough, the land bank is, on, dispensation of that property. And
Good.
that is my report.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you have any information that you could share with us, if not now, maybe offline, as to what happened with the toy store, the adult toy store on High Street?
Bootleg Bonanza?
Oh, yeah. No, not, sorry.
No.
Let me rephrase that. The
Yeah.
alternative toy store.
Bootleg
Yes.
Bonanza,
Okay.
yes. So,
Thank
yes,
you, Mary.
I can, and I'd be happy to talk about a couple of different ones, because I think there was somebody in here that came for 10 South Hanover. The clothing stores, they do go out of business. Unfortunately, these are businesses that don't necessarily have a great business plan. They're very enthusiastic and they want to come in, but, you know, you also have to have some sort of, idea of the hours that you're gonna be open, and you have to stick to it. And we continually talk about an online presence. I think one of the things about Bootleg Bonanza was that he was just not able with COVID to go to a lot of shows, which is where a lot of inventory is sold. So I think there was challenge there. There seemed to be a little, I don't know, strife between the landlord and the tenant. But again, we all want these retail stores. I constantly see, wouldn't it be great to have a bookstore? Wouldn't it be great to have this? Wouldn't it be great to have that? But you really have to have some business acumen. It's really not, I always say, it's not about mother's apple pie, right? It's really about making, and it's not about the steak on the plate. It's really about the experience and people becoming very kind of brand dependent on you.
Being open.
Yeah, and being open, right? It's very frustrating for people to, it's very frustrating for consumers who want to support these businesses to show up time and time again, and, they're just not open.
Do you find that COVID has kind of increased that? Because I found like a lot of the businesses on High Street during the week are closed earlier than what it says on the posting.
I don't know that it's COVID. I think it's a cultural thing that is just going on right now. And until it may be from the case of weather hasn't been great as well. Everybody knows that when the beer gardens are open and there's a lot of activity and the car shows are going on and FET's going on and it's a beautiful day, who doesn't want to stroll up and down High Street and everybody feels great? So I think that's part of it. I think part of it is those that are dependent on staff. They do have staffing issues. So, it's all being figured out. Sure, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. Next would be Emergency Services, and Chief Hand couldn't make it this evening. We'll ask him to report Monday. Human Relations, Ms. Levengood.
Good evening, councilors, Council President, Madam Mayor. February is recognized as Black History Month. This is an annual observance of recognizing the achievements of African Americans and recognizing their role in United States history. The Commission's February meeting was not held last night due to no quorum, and the March Commissioners meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 8th at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers, and all are welcome to attend.
Okay. And Ms. Hilton, if you'll tell us about the library.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thanks. Thank you, Council. I have a big activity planned for May the 12th from 7 to 9 at the library. It's our 100th anniversary, which we've talked about for a year. Peggy Whitaker is our chairman of that committee, and she's got lots of ideas. And looks like it's going to be a nice evening. So you might want to put that already on your calendar. It's a Thursday evening, May the 12th. Some regular activities that the library has been doing for a while are our grab and go kits. We have some for 3-year-olds up to 17-year-olds, and they include instructions and materials to complete a seasonal activity. Of course, the season right now is Valentine's Day. There's some really cute ones. And we also have, even for the youngest, the newborns to 2-year-olds, the Mother Goose group. They are the Read to Me volunteers. They have kits. They're not activities, but they're books appropriate to that very, very youngest children. And it's all free. Just stop in at the children's library, say you're interested in a Mother Goose kit or a grab and go kit, and you can take it and go. Friday, February the 11th, this coming Friday at 10:30, we have Making Music with Mr. Mike. That's a very cute activity with the children sitting around and singing along. And then you may want to stay on the 11th to do a Valentine craft or come back on the 12th. Both the 11th and 12th are Valentine craft activities in the children's department. The Book Nook on the main floor, our used book sale, has a lot of audiobooks. We had a very large donation of audiobooks. So we're selling them for the children's are only $1, and there are even more for adults, which are $2. So if you like to listen to your stories rather than reading them, or like to do both and would like to have them for the car, please stop in at the Book Nook. There's lots of bargains there every day. So thank you very much. That's your news from the library.
Oh, thank you. We have a written report from the Ricketts Center. Counselor Kirkland, have you anything to add?
Yeah, I did want to say that in addition to what's on the report, they did have a blood drive last month in January. I heard it was very successful. What I would like to do is I'd like to, when I get word of the next one, I'm going to announce that before, so more people, including myself, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because my thing just went out. Can participate. So I'm going to do that in future months. They did have 19 new memberships, which is great. Now it's around 400 and 455 in that range. We're getting close to 500. We're very excited about that. And that's the report.
Okay, I thank you. Counselor Lindsay, about the school district, anything to report?
I missed the meeting this month.
Okay. And Mr. Keller? Oh, no,
No,
I'm sorry.
mayors.
Mayor Henry, your report.
Can I just say I missed the meeting too?
Yep. It worked.
This was a pretty busy month with meetings. I attended swearing in of our new president, Judge Carluccio of Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas. I'm really looking forward to the new term for Montgomery County and working with the newly appointed Judge Sterling in Orphans Court. I also had the opportunity to interview with MCDC for a spot on the state committee. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm also grateful that I didn't make it because I'm a little spread thin, and I'm happy just focusing on Pottstown.
Yes.
I met with the Haverford Trust Company Senior Economic Advisor on the economic market and the status, updates. And while things are slowing down a bit, there really isn't anything that we need to be aware of right now. And that was also in line with what we discussed at our pension board meeting. Everything seems to be on track and there doesn't seem to be any financial surprises, knock on wood. We had our Area 1 DNC meeting. We had our PCA meeting. We had 3 Love Your Block meetings this month. We're really trying to get this program started. We have $10,000 for mini grants. $10,000 in mini grant funds for facade improvements, and we will be working on applications process for that. And then in line with that, we'll follow all the other services that will fall under Love Your Block. We had community leaders breakfast meeting. From that, Video Ray is hiring. They have an IT and assembly positions available, and if you are interested, you can check their website for more details. I had the honor of uniting Melissa Gottschall and Chris Campion in marriage, and I attended Jim Smale's service, and I would like to extend my condolences to his family, not only his family, but all emergency services, departments, and Pottstown as a whole. I never met his wife until the service, and it was really nice to meet her. She reminded me that I promised Jim a siren, so I'll have to talk to Chief about that sometime. We may have to do a siren for Jim. Uh, Coming up, let's see, tomorrow I'll be volunteering with Montgomery County Bar Association for the 2022 Montgomery County High School Mock Trials tournament, which I'm excited about. I will be a juror. The February 26th is Shrek the Musical by the Foundation for Pottstown Education. And I think that's their special performance. And councilors, if you would like to go to that performance, we have to RSVP by tomorrow, February 11th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. March is also Meals on Wheels. If anyone is interested, we will be partnering with people in the community and delivering food. I will be with one of the drivers and be delivering Meals on Wheels one day in March. If you haven't done it, it's pretty rewarding experience, so I highly recommend it. April 12th is Deer Day, Drop Everything and Read Day for the schools, and they're gonna be doing it virtually. Counselors, if you're interested, or if anyone else is interested, you need to RSVP to the school district by March 18th. I have two brags about Pottstown businesses. One, I would like to say thank you very much to PNC Bank. Normally, financial institutions are not high on my list of people that I like just because of my business. And I have to say, the manager at PNC Bank has been extremely helpful in helping me with a financial exploitation case for an elderly woman. And the customer service at PNC has just been amazing. So it's nice to see that. I'd also like to give some brags to American Gold Traders and Vance Jaffe, the little pawn shop that's down the street. Due to the pandemic and people leaving their jobs, there is a need for appraisals for estates and such. And thankfully, Vance Jaffe and his team were very welcoming and helped me on some appraisals for estates. So I would like to say thank you and go check out those businesses. And then I'm gonna put Chuck on the spot. I'm just gonna ask a question because I keep forgetting to email you, so you don't have to answer it now, but if we could get it on the agenda for offline. I would like to know how to go about forming an airport authority for Pottstown Airport. I have a large group of experienced aviators who are interested in governing and marketing the airport, and we would like to start an airport authority.
And I would be happy, Mayor, to send you some information on that, and I can share it with council so it can be listed for a future council meeting.
Thank you. And that concludes my report.
You've been busy. Mr. Keller.
All right, well, it's been a busy month for us here as well at the borough. With the bridge collapse in Pittsburgh, I think the condition of our bridges in Pennsylvania are on the top of minds of everyone. And we are working with the county. Last week, they had reached out to us, as well as Joe Cerisi's office. We have been discussing the four bridges over the Norfolk Southern lines. If you've driven down Evans or Franklin Street, you can tell that they're still okay to drive over, but they're in various states of deterioration. So we are working to get those bridges on the transportation improvement plan, which is also known as the TIP, or the 12-year plan. And once we're on there, we can get funding allocated. Also, we're watching, and they're helping us look for resources through the infrastructure bill, and also any funds that might come from Pennsylvania as a response to the bridge collapse in Pittsburgh that we may be able to capture here for use of these bridges. We're also working with TPD, our traffic engineer, to discuss plans for rehabilitation work on the Moser Road Bridge by the end of the year. The work is fairly minor. Steel plates that on the surface that need to be redone. Some of the bushings or the bearings that the bridge sits on need to be replaced. So we'll be looking to conduct that work near the end of the year. I don't have a definitive timeline yet, but that will require a short closure likely of that roadway. So we'll definitely keep you posted, and we plan to pay for that out of our liquid fuels funding allocation. We also held discussions with the car show on how to better communicate traffic detours to businesses and residents, and also discuss with them live music in Smith Family Plaza. Some more good news, we're finally in possession of 18 ornamental LED streetlights. So these were obtained through a $200,000 CDBG grant for the installation on High Street between Evans and Union Streets, so just past the library there a little bit. The installation will be conducted by our staff, and we're hopeful to begin in early spring. This will really improve the High Street corridor, not only the aesthetics, but also the visibility and the safety as well. And also, as you may recall, the borough has been in discussions with BASF, who owns 860 Cross Street, to conduct environmental remediation and improve the site with a park. So our preliminary agreement calls for a lease of the clean and improved park to the borough for a period of years before transferring ownership fully to the borough. The costs for the cleanup, park improvements, and property sale will be fully covered by BASF. And the borough has borough staff has conditionally approved BASF's final site design for the park, which will include parking area, basketball courts, fencing and lighting and like. And BASF would like to begin work on that property. So if they were to begin work on this property, it would trigger requirements for land developments and also for the zoning use. And we would like to ask council if they'd be willing to waive the zoning use requirements and the land development process, since this property is being improved for eventual borough use and ownership. Just to clarify, since it's a park use, it is not permitted. It is not a permitted use in this zoning district. Even though there is a borough park right across the street, that's why we like the location of this one for a new park. So BASF would either have to request a variance or preferably receive an opinion that the zoning does not apply in this situation, since it would be transferred to the borough anyway. We would still intend to ask the applicant to meet all land development plan requirements. However, we would request that the formal review process be waived. And just to summarize, our staff and solicitor have been working on this project for a number of years. And just to remind everyone, the primary goals are multifold. It's cleaning up a contaminated site. It's creating a new park that will resolve a land and water conservation 6F issue in Memorial Park that will allow us to apply for more grants, and also expanding recreational opportunities for the residents on that site, which is a site that likely would have remained abandoned for a number of years. If there are any questions, I can take those now. Otherwise, we would plan to potentially add this onto the agenda for Monday night.
For Monday. Any questions?
Hey, Justin.
Yes.
What do they plan on doing with the abandoned building that's there?
So that is not owned by BASF. That was purchased, I think, recently by a private owner. And
Okay.
I have not heard about any plans. Honestly, I'm not quite sure they even understood what they were buying.
I understand. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Of course, I mean, I'll discuss it a little bit more in the future, but if you guys have been working on it for quite some time, but obviously like to see it cleaned up.
Okay.
All right. Just a couple other items here. I hope to have an update on the King Street Bridge by next month. We do think that it's going to be hopefully open to vehicle traffic at some point this spring. I mean, as you can see, the contractors are making good progress. The form liner brick finishes and the black railings really look outstanding. So once we have a date for when the bridge will be open, we'd like to ask council if they'd like to conduct a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Really looking forward to getting that open. I know residents have really dealt with a lot, having to detour around that bridge for the past 18 months and 2 years, so, to 2 years. So I think it'll really be a welcome site to have that open. And then later on the agenda, we're gonna be asking council for approval on Monday for a number of projects that we have out to bid. Of particular note is the grant-funded project to repair the arch collapse at 42 Walnut Street. So we're really excited that we were able to get the grant money and the engineering done and are in a position to have that fixed now. And then also the rehabilitation of Sunstrom Field, that was also primarily grant-funded, and that's to restore it and actually make it better than what it was in its previous condition before it got wiped out by the flooding about 2 years ago. Just a reminder, for potholes, if you do have a pothole, please contact the Public Works Department to report the location. However, if the pothole is on a state-owned road, such as High Street, Anatawny, Charlotte, you need to contact PennDOT at 1-800-FIX-ROAD or go onto their website and fill out a service request to have that item addressed. Again, those roadways are not the responsibility of the borough, they're the responsibility of the state, and reaching out to them directly is gonna get you the quickest response. Just a reminder that the hall will be closed President's Day, February 21st. And then what I would like to do is share my screen here because I have some progress to show you with regards to the Armada Way signs. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
There you are.
All right, so these are the signs that we're proposing for Armada Way on Franklin Street adjacent to the high school. I think it's about 4 blocks that we would put these signs in dedication of the Armadas who've really served this town well. And we have a couple different options here. These signs are an aluminum sign with a vinyl facing on them for the lettering. We picked this design because it's going to be the easiest to replace since it's it's not a standard shape, but at least the materials are fairly standard and easy to get to. And it incorporates the borough's logo at the top, and then dedicated as Armada Way on the bottom. And we're basically asking you for your preferences on the colors that you would like to see. And the staff recommendation would be for options 1 or 2, but we'll honor any other requests as well.
Okay.
I like 7.
Which one you say?
7.
I
I don't,
said
because I'm
3.
old now, and so like that's the only one that I
I
can.
like 3.
I was down to 9 and 10 because it looks like the Pennsylvania license plates,
Anybody
or
ask
the old
John?
ones anyway.
Anybody ask John or Marlene?
Yeah, maybe
Why
Their
did you ask
signs.
John?
It's a-
I was
His
going
sign.
to text Marlene and ask.
should we let
I
John
was just
pick?
thinking that.
Pretty
Okay.
good,
All right,
Yeah.
so-
Took a
yeah.
picture of
Well,
him,
you know
was
it'll be
gonna
Marlene,
text
but I mean,
Marlene and say, which one do you like? And then say, I like that one. I
Yeah.
was gonna pick hers.
That sounds good.
I think we should let them pick.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Good idea.
me too.
Put the
There's-
pressure on them.
There's your assignment.
Right,
Okay.
Lisa.
All right, well, we'll do that. I think these are all pretty good options, so.
Okay, let
we'll
them
get-
choose.
We'll get back to you with what they choose, and then we can get an order out and start installation, so.
Yeah, because we had 7, 1, 2, 19. Yeah, 9 and 10. No, let them pick.
And that concludes my report.
Justin, are you done talking, sorry, about the Sunstrom Field bids? Or are you going back to that later?
I probably won't go back to it. If you have a specific question, I can,
Do you mind?
yeah.
So I thought in 2021 that Sunstrom Field was awarded, like, I think it was like $125,000 grant to fix what had happened with the flooding.
That's correct.
And then it was fixed.
No, it wasn't fixed.
It was never fixed. Oh, okay, so this is in addition to those funds?
No, this is $125,000 funding that we have, that we're gonna be, that's what we put out to bid, was to use that grant.
Oh, to use that grant,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This is for that grant,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
I thought it was in addition to.
and you'll notice that on the bids, there are a couple add alternates on the bid, which brings it up significantly over 100,000 or 125,000. We think we might have ways to get that because we feel like we have a good price on it. And if we're able to come up with the money, it might make sense for the borough to contribute some funds towards that, since at the end of the day, it is a borough facility.
My only question with that is for Sunstrom, it's what percentage of residents do we have any data of what percentage of residents that actually, that field benefits?
No, I mean, we wouldn't keep that data. I mean, we lease it to a baseball organization. We would have to reach out to them to understand what residents play in that league.
I'm just asking because it seems like it is in a floodplain and it's going to continue to get flooded. And if we is it worth continuing to put money into restoring this to a baseball field if it's going, due to the
That's
growing
for
climate changes,
Kids,
make it a swim park.
Well,
we could do that too.
But this money, it can't be redirected.
arranging the backstop fence in a horizontal manner so that it could be rolled up, or if sections have to be replaced, we just have to replace the bottom section. So there were some steps that were taken to try to mitigate flooding, but it's still gonna flood, for sure.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay.
Is it? Any more?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Done for that. 8 is a resolution, the Montco 2040 grant. Is that you or Mike?
Yeah, so I have Mr. Lenhart online with us tonight, if you would like to talk about that.
Certainly. Did you want me to show any slides and photos, or you're happy with words?
I can share my screen with you. All right, should be good.
Look, you
It happens to everybody now.
Don't make daddy mad.
Right.
All right, the perfect timing. All right, can we all see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just say these are some slides from a presentation that we're going to be using on February 17th for some citizen public input for the Parks and Rec system. So if you haven't checked it out on the calendar, keep it open for 6:30 p.m. both in person and virtually on the 17th to take some input from citizens about the park system. Also update folks on ongoing projects. But here we see Riverfront Park, and down at the bottom right, you can see the Manatawny Creek as seen from the railroad bridge there looking down towards the Schuylkill River, and you can see the pedestrian bridge across the Manatawny Creek there in Riverfront Park. This is a pretty crucial connection for the Schuylkill River Trail. Takes the Schuylkill River Trail into our park, Riverfront Park, and all the way through to Hanover Street, where it hooks up and goes on towards Philadelphia. So this is our section of it. This bridge and this waterway have had some issues of late. It's a long time coming, but here you can see in this slide, looking up from the pedestrian bridge towards the railroad bridge, you see a big gravel bar there on the left. That's causing water to redirect into the embankment, the eastern embankment pictured at right. It's been eating away at that for years. About 2016, 2017, we did some work to make that bridge independent of the existing abutment, but that has only bought us time. The erosion has continued as pictured here, 100 feet above and about 50 feet below, even eating behind at right the armoring on the embankment protecting the abutment. So it's time to do something for this. This was a subject we discussed last year. You had authorized us to recover $132,403 of in lieu of open space funds that were due to the Parks and Rec Department. Took those funds, we did the engineering, and we have a design to armor this embankment. We delayed executing that project firstly because we had an opportunity to acquire some materials from Ryland on the King Street Bridge. So we're able to acquire 200 tons of number 6 and number 7 stone, which would be what you would use to armor this embankment. We got that free of charge because they were taking that out of the site, and we were able to acquire that. We're storing it over Memorial Park. We had to wait to bid the project until we could see how much stone we had. I should say congratulations go to our Parks and Maintenance worker, Michael Yerger. It was his idea to contact Ryland and to acquire those materials. Pushing the project, therefore, into this year, we had another opportunity that was brought to us by staff, and that was Courtney High, Grants Administrator, noted that we hit the perfect priorities for funding through the Monco 2040 grant this year. So we feel like we have a very strong application to go after the full 200,000 from Monco 2040, which is what the resolution is for. So we would take our 132 that we're holding and the 200,000 conceivably that we get from Monco 2040 and use it to address the embankment as well as the bridge deck itself. It's not just the embankment that's seeing the ravages of time. This is the bridge deck. This is a concrete bridge deck on the Riverfront Park pedestrian bridge. Now, the bridge itself is structurally sound. This is just the deck that sits over it. It's starting to wear, as you can see. Again, still sound, but you don't want to wait until it's unsound to address this. So also talking to Ryland, I got a quote for what it would cost to strip this deck, re-pour this deck, and while we're at it, sandblast and repaint the bridge. And that's estimated at $185,000. So altogether, with estimates for the embankment work, they ranged widely from 110 up to 277. Call that a mean of about 200,000. We have a potential for a 300,000 and change project. Again, it depends on what the bids come back for. We're very confident with the Monco 2040 funding and the in lieu of open space funds that we have that we can make this project in total work and really protect this crucial connection to one of the most important parks in our system and in the region. But that's the long and short of it. I'll be happy to take any questions on this.
Well,
I don't have any questions. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say my kids and I use that bridge all the time, so it'd be nice to know that it's in good shape in the future.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I use it too, and I'm really glad that we're doing this. Thank you.
Okay.
Have you considered any other option for the deck besides concrete?
We have looked at a couple options, just kicking it around with actually talking with Ryland because if they're fairly knowledgeable. You know, we did look at the idea of, say, lumber, wood, or something, a polymer Trex. The issue you have with those is that they can be very slippery, first of all, when wet, but also it's a lot harder to clear snow. So right now we can actually run equipment right across this bridge if we need to. If you have planking or boards, there's a little bit, you have to worry about the wear and tear on that from the machine. as well as some of the chemicals we use to keep ice off of it. And then we were also looking at how if we used lumber to allow water to sort of drain from under that, so that, because one of the issues you see is water gets trapped between the deck and the bridge itself, and that of course contributes to the decay of the materials with freeze and thaw. We looked at whether wood would allow that to sort of, that water to move through, but ultimately you still have water that's going to be trapped, and this time it's going to be trapped against lumber, which even if you use pressure treated, it's still going to decrease the lifespan of it. So we did consider it, but this seemed like the most cost effective and utilitarian solution.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. So we're asking for a resolution?
Yes, for the Monco 2040 grant application.
Okay. And we'll list this for action for Monday evening.
Great.
Okay, 9 is Parks and Rec lease agreement for 71 High Street.
Yep, I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Lenhart as well to
Very
talk
good.
about that.
Mike?
Okay, sure thing. I'll make this quick. So as you know already, Pottstown Parks and Recreation is taking back over operation of Manatawny Green for 2022. That's the mini golf. Carousel declined to renew their lease. So we are going to be running golf out of that location. We're going to be running a much more abbreviated schedule than what we've tried in the past. If you look at historically, we've tried a lot of different things with mini golf, and it's very difficult to make ends meet, especially when it's the staffing. So we're going to be running a schedule that begins May 27th, so Memorial Day weekend, running through the end of October. And we're going to be running primarily when school is out, Thursday to Sunday, from about noon to 9. But during the week, the non-peak week, that's when school is in session, we'll be running evenings 4 to 9. So generally running a lot lighter schedule and only focusing on the golf course itself. In the past, we've done a lot of things with the concession there, but when you run a concession, you need more staff, more training, more materials. We'd like to sort of start slow. So we're not planning to utilize the concession stand in that manner. We'll be doing prepackaged things, but nothing that requires full use of the kitchen. That said, we have an unused space. We'd like to offer this as a lease to a, in this case, the Newbie Ranch is the folks that are interested, that they can utilize that space and sort of give some supplementary income by way of renting to the facility. If you look at the terms of the lease, it's set up as a year-long lease. It's got 2 renewals for 1 year. Talking with the owners of Newbie Ranch, they don't really think they're going to be in that long, so this is a short-term deal. Additional features of that are 30 days notice for cancellation from either party. So if Newbie Ranch wishes to move on, or if the borough decides that this isn't working for us, this lease can be terminated with 30 days written notice at any time during that period. And the monthly rent is $350 from Newbie Ranch on the first of the month. And this would be for the use of that main room and the storage room. We anticipate their utility usage as very light. What they do at Newbie Ranch is process honey and organic vegetable products. They only use a domestic grade stove for that, so it's minimal power use, and they're planning only to be in about 6 hours daily, 5 days a week. So it's a fairly light operation. We think it's a good deal for us, just for a small amount of income for an unused space.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it.
And do we need to take action for that?
Yes, there'll be a motion listed on Monday night if you're okay with that.
Okay.
Are they beekeeping on the property or just processing?
Just processing. Yeah, no.
I think I saw Newbie Ranch at, I think it was the farmer's market that we have in the warmer months. And I bought some vegetables from them, but also watermelon rind. It was amazing. So I highly recommend getting that from. But yeah, I was glad when they came to the farmers market. So, I
Good.
mean, are they going to be like selling their stuff from there, or are they just making it there?
They're just going to be making it there. They're not going to be operating any sales out of there. Now, they could, if they wished to, they would have to talk to us first, because one of the other features of the lease essentially says can't interfere with the operation of the mini golf. That said, what we're planning to do there is fairly light, so we wouldn't anticipate much of butting heads. There's plenty of room for everybody.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll list that for Monday. And 215 South Washington Street for the Act 90.
Yes, so if you recall, this is the property that was subject to being fully renovated as the former Pottstown Plating Works. And this was presented to us at our last joint school board meeting. And the owner now wishes to move forward with installation of a new roof on the building to prevent further degradation of the building. However, since the borough enforces Act 90, typically a property that is behind on taxes or utilities would be required to pay those back prior to the borough issuing permits. But in this case, given that council's already granted some level of conditional tax relief to this property, and since the improvements are needed to prevent further degradation of the building, we'd like to ask council to make an exception to enforcing Act 90 in this case. It's my understanding that in the past, Act 90 has been waived for similar projects in similar situation if the improvement is needed to prevent further degradation to the building or the property.
Okay. And the amount invested, to be invested?
I believe it's approximately $400,000.
Okay. Any questions, any issues?
I don't have a conflict anymore, so I fully support that.
It's looking a lot better too. Looks like he's really kind of cleaning it out too, and he
Yes.
needs to.
So if he's going to invest 400,000 into the building, he probably is not going to abandon it.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And, I mean, if there were any concerns, he would be willing to entertain a condition that he couldn't sell it for a period of years, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He already has made that.
Okay.
He will make that.
Yeah. Yep. He's willing to do that if.
Good. Okay, then list that for Monday evening. 11 is land bank policies and procedures. And we have those in our packet.
Yes, that's right. And it's just basically per the borough ordinance, anytime the land bank changes their policies and procedures, it has to come back to council for approval.
Right.
A lot of them were very minor, just kind of clean up things. But just two of the highlights was to add language that acquisition through the land bank will create or preserve homeownership opportunities. And then the second main point was to clarify all acquisitions will require approval by the Pottstown Borough Land Board of Directors and provide further details to the process for the acquisition of properties to the Pottstown Borough Land Bank. There are other sections on conveyance of properties and side lot dispositions as well, but the full document is in your packet for your review.
Okay, so we'll list that for Monday. 12 is the sales agreement of 707 Hamilton Street.
Yes, and I'm going to turn it over to our solicitor for this one.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Justin. I think Peggy had mentioned this in her report. I think council knows that the borough acquired 707 Hamilton Street probably 10 years ago or even longer than that. It's been a property that needs significant rehabilitation in order to put it back on the tax rolls. As we speak, we are negotiating and working on an agreement, a tri-party agreement, to initially convey the property to the land bank, and thereafter the land bank would then convey the property to Genesis Housing. I think council is aware that Genesis has done a lot of rehabilitation for structures in the borough. and has been very positive influence. So as part of the arrangement, we thought that it would be a good idea for the land bank to get their feet wet and involved in a transaction. We're permitted as a borough to donate property to the land bank. As part of the agreement, the borough would be receiving monies it has invested in the property. It's approximately $30,000. The borough has a grant to weatherize the property, and ultimately Genesis will totally rehabilitate the property and then turn it over to a first-time home buyer under their guidelines. So we've been talking about this for some time. We'd like to get this process moving. On your agenda Monday night, if you agree, will be conditional approval of this agreement so we can keep this moving forward. I'm happy to answer any questions. We've been working with PAID, we've been working with the land bank, we've been working with Genesis to get this finalized. And it seems like a pretty good win-win-win for all the parties involved.
I remember inspecting that building a couple of years ago, and I think Judy, member from Genesis, will have our hands full with it, but I think it'll work out well.
Good.
You're correct, Ryan. And again, they're getting a grant to do the rehabilitation, which likely will exceed the value of the property, but fortunately, they're willing to undertake that task.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll list it for Monday. Thank you, Chuck.
And just to add, 707 Hamilton, that's also one of the bids that we're hoping to award on Monday night. That's $30,000 for the weatherization, making the exterior weather tight, siding, shingles, things like that, downspouts, so.
Good.
Yeah, it's a twin as well, so I think the next door neighbor will be appreciative.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It will bring the property values up clearly for both of those parcels. Would really be a benefit to the whole neighborhood.
It would. It would. Okay. 13 is a resolution for the destruction of records. This is something we do each year.
Yep, so in alignment with the Boro of Pottstown's intent to follow the schedules and procedures for disposition of records as set forth in the Municipal Records Manual, last amended March 28, 2019. The documents that we've attached here tonight in Exhibit A will be destroyed in accordance with the Act, so let us know if council has any concerns. Otherwise, we'll ask for your approval Monday night.
Very good. We'll list that one. 14, an Amtrak agreement.
Yes, so this is a very exciting recent development that Amtrak has approached the borough about establishing bus service. They would like to establish a stop in town using portions of public lot number 1, formerly known as the Reading Lot, to establish express service between Reading and Philadelphia. So Pottstown would really be the only stop. The express would have 3 stops per day during the week, in the morning and midday, and in the evening, and then that would be in both directions. Service would also be provided on the weekends as well. Amtrak plans to engage a private bus coach company for a period of 2 years as they work towards establishing a more permanent rail service in the future. And we were very clear with them that this bus shouldn't supplant any plans for rail service returning to the corridor. We've made our position clear about that. So we've had several meetings with Amtrak, elected officials, and we continue to press for funding or partnerships to improve the passenger amenities such as waiting areas, bathrooms, and overall site conditions. So in order to move forward, we're asking council for permission to have our solicitor prepare an agreement to allow this use in lot number 1.
Okay. Any discussion, questions, concerns?
I think it's great.
Please understand, this does not negate rail service. This is a step forward toward it, and it allows us as well as Amtrak to test the need and the desire. If we fill the 3 buses, maybe they'll add 4, 5, 6 more. And anytime we show more ridership, that's just a greater desire for them to complete the rail service.
Me and I will be taking the train to Philadelphia.
Yes, we will, Mayor. I agree. I agree with Lisa. I think this is a good idea.
Okay, so we'll list that for Monday night to give our solicitor something else to do. 15 is the Jensen Settlement Participation Agreement. And everything printed is in your packet. Want to add to it?
Yeah, I'll ask our solicitor to speak about that.
All right, Mr. Garner?
Sure, Dan, I'll take this. We were approached about 2 weeks ago from Montgomery County Solicitor's Office. Nationwide class action suit that has been instituted against both manufacturers and distributors of opioids. We learned that the state attorney general in Pennsylvania has joined in this settlement that has been reached. And according to the settlement documents, and I won't profess to have read the 315-page settlement document, the more municipalities that participate, the more funds that become available to those municipalities that are participating. It's structured as incentive dollars for different uses. So the county has asked the borough if we're willing to support the settlement agreement. Again, this does not require council to put any money in. It simply indicates that it's supportive of the proposed settlement with these manufacturers and distributors. Monies would come back to us ultimately when the matter is finally resolved. The more municipalities that agree to support it, the larger dollars that come back. Obviously, there are strings associated with the funds, so that it just can't be spent for any reason, have to be somehow related to the opioid crisis. I don't know that there's a downside to the borough supporting and joining this effort. More information would follow, but the first step is to decide if you want to, advise the county you're willing to support the settlement. That's what's before you Monday night.
Okay.
I gotta read.
Any questions? We'll
I
list
gotta
it.
look that one over.
All right, we'll list it for action then.
I gotta read that.
16, Parks and Recreation Half Marathon.
Yes, this would be on April 16th. Mainly, they would need to utilize portions of College Drive.
Right. So we'll list that one for Monday. 17 is the Tiburon Endurance 5K.
Yep, this is the annual race that's conducted by Sly Fox around the Circle of Progress and then down Glasgow Street into West Pottsgrove and the Schuylkill River Trail.
And we do that every year. Sunstone, 42 Walnut Street, construction repairs at 707, manhole frames, water pipes, traffic signs and posts. And
ultra-low sulfur diesel for buses as well.
Okay. So there's no question, we'll do that Monday.
Maybe I'm looking at the old one.
Anything else?
No, I'm looking at an old agenda. The ultra-low diesel is off, so
That's off.
My apologies.
Okay, that's 18. 19, sale of borough park equipment and miscellaneous items. We've done well with that.
Yes, so we have vehicles, paint sprayers, and various park props that we have winning bids totaling $9,200 for. We're fairly happy with the prices we got.
Very good. So we'll approve that one Monday. 20 is the upcoming board vacancy for the Planning Commission, and I think our chairman, Jim Durr, has volunteered to serve us again for another year.
No other applicants.
No other applicants. Okay. And we can approve that Monday?
Yes, that's ready for,
That's ready for approval?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, at this time, are there any comments from the citizens present?
So
question.
at this
Go ahead,
time, I'll first just take the names and addresses of all those that would like to speak. So you can either send me a chat before this session ends, or unmute yourself now if you're on a phone and let me know your name.
Tom Winterbottom, my friend.
Okay, Tom, anyone else?
How you doing, my friend?
All right, looks like Tom's the only commenter. Go ahead, Mr. Winterbottom, you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, Justin, thanks. Justin, where is that Reading lot number 1? For the, the Amtrak service? I mean, where is Reading lot number 1?
So for those that don't know, it's just opposite of Borough Hall, south of the railroad tracks.
Oh, you mean it's not where the town buses stop, or where, as opposed to where would that be then?
South Hanover.
Right across from that, yeah.
Okay. And when's that supposed to commence, sir? Start.
We'll have more information
Yeah.
later.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Yep. All right, so it looks like I have one more commenter. Deborah Spence, would you like to make a comment?
I had a question. I wanted to know how many presentations, if any, did the Genesis Corporation have to give to acquire property from the land bank?
Thank you. We'll get back to you with the response. All right, that appears to conclude citizen comments.
Okay. Now, we will have the councilors' comments and discussions. Let me start. Is Michael still on? Or did
No,
he send anything?
he had to log out and he wasn't able to send.
Okay,
anything.
all right. Sorry, Mike. Mr. Kirkland, anything to add?
No comment, thank you.
Very good. Ms. Lindsay?
I just want to send my condolences to Jim and his family and to his wife and family and friends. I didn't know him, but I heard many good things about him and seen a lot of posts on Facebook regarding his passing and the procession. Now, I think it was High Street. Yeah, High Street. So I just wanted to send my condolences out, and I wanted to thank Dan for these delicious, I'm going to eat the whole thing, Girl Scout cookies that he put in here. They look delicious, and I just can't wait till this meeting is over so I can take some, okay? Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
Very good.
That's how you get Trinita to be quiet.
Vice President Lebedinsky. Anything?
Anything, let's see.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Over the last couple months, a bunch of friends have been getting together and touring High Street and the fine restaurants that have been on High Street. And the group started out as 2 people just kind of hanging out and having fun, turning into how many people were there last time? 16?
16, yeah.
16 people. We went to the Stave & Stable and had a great time. And we've been doing this on a monthly basis. I'm sure they're gonna, if it gets any bigger, these companies are gonna get a little upset at us because they're very small companies, not small companies, but they're High Street, and we're trying to highlight, we've been trying to tour High Street and kind of highlight and expose people to the cuisines that are on High Street and some of the beverages. We hit places like JJ's and the pub and Henry's.
You have a lot of experience with beverages.
Yes, I do. And I've been very impressed with how this group has grown and the friends that I've made through that as well. I want to take just a moment to say I appreciate all those people that I've met and talked to and have gone out with, and thank you. And I just hope it gets bigger and better because it just exposes Pottstown for the community that it is, and it just makes me happy to see it.
Thank you. Councilor Downey.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I just wanted to comment. I'm really glad that we got the grant and things are going to start moving with 42 Walnut. I also want to thank Peggy for talking about the businesses and why some of them fail. I also saw some things on social media, so I'm really glad that you addressed that. Thank you. And something that the mayor said about the Meals on Wheels, I had a chance to do that once, and I would love to do it again. It was a great experience to be able to go to people's homes and deliver the meals, but the person that I was with also gave me a wonderful history of Pottstown, and he was a lovely gentleman. So I would very much like to do that again. And I have to give a shout out to Drain Men Plumbing. I tend to freak out over house stuff, and my refrigerator, my water dispenser wasn't working. And I kind of panicked a little bit, and I called them. From the person that answered the phone to the person that came to my house, they stayed in communication. They were clean. They were lovely in my home. They fixed the problem. I would highly recommend them. I'm glad that they are in our town. I worked in customer service for 15 years, so I know a good company when I see it, and they were wonderful. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Proskal.
I guess I'll comment on Peggy's report too. It's like with the, what a great company Eastwood is. I mean, all my friends from Illinois, if they come out here, prior to the pandemic, we'd always go in there and see where they have a series of videos too on YouTube that they kind of tour around Pottstown and classic cars. And it's, not just here, it's obviously a national known company that everybody seems to like, including me.
Good. Mayor Henry.
Other than I've just been getting a lot of complaints, and I have seen it personally working remotely, just driving down High Street, there is a lot of trash on High Street. Closer towards Rite Aid and Mission First, not down this way. And I have seen, I believe the gentleman who owns the Chinese takeout place on the corner there, he is out there like every morning with a blower and picking up all this trash, and I know it's not from his customers, all of it. So I'd appreciate it if the business owners could pitch in and help each other out on these blocks and not just try to be responsible for the little square footage in front of their doors. Trash flies all over.
So, Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're working with on a plan with the property owners there to force them
Thank you.
to pay for cleaning.
Yay, thank you.
So,
Good thing. Appreciate it.
well, there'll be more details on it soon. It's just kind of in its infancy, but I'm sure that we'll have more information probably next month or two, so.
Are you referring to the same block that you and I walked?
Yeah.
Because you're right, it's not fair that the owner of the Chinese restaurant has to clean up that block for everyone else.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
He-
And the burden needs to be shared equally.
Yeah, he worked tireless, yeah, he.
And there's a couple other, not
Right,
many,
I'm
but
not
Yeah, there's some
couple
of 'em.
others.
Whose fault it is, I'm just saying, everyone needs to kind of pitch in, so I'm glad that you guys are putting together a plan that makes me happy, and now I don't have to
Walk and take
trash
pictures.
every week.
No, and take pictures.
Thank you, that's all I have.
That's all? Okay. Let me think. Must be some important number. And the only important number I can think of at the moment is 38. We're, in 38 days, we'll start spring, and sunset should be all the way down to 7 p.m.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. I've had enough winter. Meeting adjourned.
I'm looking forward to these cookies. About to eat.
Take care, guys.
Bye, Chuck. Bye.
See you Monday.
Yes, we're taking your cookies since you're not here, so.
You can have them for you.